Hi everyone, I'm Oscar, and this is Tech Tribe Podcast, where we build a tribe of tech leaders. For today's episode, our guest is Miss Athena Abe. So, hello, Miss Athena, how are you?
Hello, Oscar. I'm doing great. Thank you for inviting me in your podcast, and it's a great privilege to be in one of the early pilot episodes. So I'm excited to be able to share and chat with you and help other people learn from today's podcast.
Yan. So, thank you very much for accepting our invitation. So, to share with our audience, I've been following you for more than 2 years, I think. Kasi noon pa lang, kung sa student ka pa lang sa Pilipinas, kasi, di ba, right now,
Wow!
you're there
Yeah.
in California. No? Nakita na kita nagtotalk sa mga organizations, school organizations. And I think you are a ComSci graduate, di ba? ComSci ang course mo.
Yes, I graduated computer science sa St. Paul, Manila, magna cum laude.
Yun, talaga naman. So, kasi na-share ko sa kanila yung aking following sa'yo kasi nung nagtotalk ako, nung in-invite ako mag-talk ng DICT, ikaw yung una ko nakita sa LinkedIn na may mga engagement. So, I copied, imitated some of your public speaking techniques or strategies. So, and I'm very thankful kung dati is ginagaya lang kita. And now, here we are. Invite na kita sa aking podcast. And I'm very much thankful that regardless of our time zone differences, you accepted my invitation. So I thought before that you're still here in the Philippines and working remotely.
Oh, no, yeah. That was last year, early last year. I was there in the Philippines mula December hanggang February. So almost 3 months. Yeah.
And now you're there in
California, yeah. I live here, yeah. But I do visit sa Pilipinas.
Okay. So yeah, to begin with, can you share with us your stories from being a speaker during your college days until now you're working na and still have these kind of engagements with tech advocates like me?
Yeah, that is actually a great topic to start, especially as an introduction. And I'm glad that you also let me know that you've been following/supporting me for over, I think, since kung na-discover mo ko, nung estudyante pa ako,
Yeah.
3 years, more than 3 years na din. So thank you for taking the time to watch my content. And I'm glad that I was able to help a public speaker like you strategize on how to effectively talk to a large audience. So when I started, it was during the pandemic, and so I was a third year computer science student sa Pilipinas, and we were just all trying to survive during that time. And it in our community, kasi as Polinians, we are driven to give back to the community, and one of our projects was to create a tutorial video. So it was technically a project. We were required to create at least one tutorial video on YouTube. That is, ang purpose nun is to share the knowledge to the out-of-school youth. Kasi schools were shutting down. So, syempre, nawala na ng opportunity yung mga estudyante to learn, and we want to give free resources for them to still take and learn from online. So, the requirement was to just create one tech tutorial. And I was thinking na, common na yun, na kapag ginugol mo lang, kung web development course, ang dali na lang makakuha ng content. And the problem with recorded videos is that you won't really have that much of a personal interaction with the tutor or nagbibigay ng tutorial. Paano kung nagtuturo nga ako ng web development, nagko-code, tapos na-stop siya, tapos ako dire-diretso lang, tapos di na siya makatuloy sa pagko-code kasi may ibang way siya ng pag-code na need to troubleshoot, something like that. And pag nag-comment siya na, na-stuck ako sa ganito, paano ko ito isosolve? It would take sometimes days, depende din sa nag-upload ng content, kung gaano siya ka-active, mag-respond. So, at that time, kakaturo lang din sa amin freshly ng web dev, information security, and networking. I had this idea na instead of creating a recorded tutorial video, why not do it live, online peer mentoring? And then I asked permission from my professors if I can use their content as a learning material. And sobrang ano ko, kasi I've been labeled as an ambitious person. So instead of one tutorial, ginawa ko 3 kasi sabi ko sayang yung knowledge eh. Why not habang fresh pa siya sa utak ko, i-share ko na yung 3 lessons, which is web dev, information security, and database systems. So I asked permission to use their content, and I've posted on Facebook. Doon nag-start yun sa mga programming community that I'll be hosting a free peer mentoring session for web dev, infosec, and database system, something like that. So yun yung naging start ng journey ko in becoming, exposing myself in the Filipino programming or tech community. And then I've been receiving mixed feedback with that. And then, yun na nga, it leads towards becoming a public speaker. But before I went to that point of being invited in universities, there had been some feedback wherein, bakit nagtuturo tong estudyante na to ng programming? Wala naman siyang work experience.
Yes, yes.
So, I highly, malinaw doon nung whenever I conduct those peer mentoring is that online peer mentoring. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang ako yung nagtuturo. I am welcoming everyone na may background to also share additional knowledge or expertise kung mas stuck man kahit ako. And I'm also, malinaw naman na I'm still a student, I'm still learning. So, and my limitations lang din yung content na kaya kong i-share. Hindi ko pa kaya magturo ng advanced topics during that time. So I had those feedback, but instead of letting those like affect me, I still keep my passion in sharing the knowledge. And even way before, back then, bago ko pa ginawa yung initiative na yun, I've had my YouTube channel for 2011. At ang pinakauna kong YouTube video ay Teach Me How to Dagi. So, yeah, I always share that story because people might think, because it's in our generation, kasi diba, people are doing content, they think it's for like monetization, for like clout, but the reason why I have my social media platform is because I was passionate to just share the memories, and also eventually doon na nga nangyari yung creating content. So I still keep on doing those until a university reached out to me. I think is AMA Computer College Caloocan. And I think after a few weeks ko lang din kaka-conduct ng peer mentoring tutorials na yon. They reached out to me and said, hey, nakikita namin yung engagement mo sa Filipino tech communities, and we want to invite you to do a talk about database system, specifically SQL fundamentals. So at that time, parang napaisip ako, parang teka lang, gusto niyo ko gumawa ng talk, third-year college student pa lang ako, anong alam ko? Kasi usually kami, pag nag-i-invite kami ng mga public speaker, yung mga bigatin na talaga, yung mga may in-depth experience na. So, syempre, doon na pumapasok yung, kahit estudyante ka, mararanasan mo yung imposter syndrome na, is this, am I worth it to be invited? Ganon. But, during that time, I cannot remember if I shared the news to the people around me or close to me na I got invited, but I took that risk. I said yes, kasi during that time nga, I have the material naman from my professors that I can share. So nag-practice ako kung paano ko i-set up yung multiple screens na may presentation, tapos may yung text editor ko. And then I accepted that, and I asked for feedback, especially knowing that it was my first talk, and sa Pilipinas, PLDT yung internet natin, so medyo naglalag ako doon.
Yes.
And then, it was a great experience, but it's a great learning opportunity, and I'm happy that I was able to share the experience with other people. And then, that was, I think, it was October or December. And then next year na, tuloy-tuloy lang, just enjoying, like, interacting with people on social media, being active sa community, naghihingi ako ng mga advice sa mga nasa industriya on how to get started, during that time, wala sa isip ko na maging public speaker or na mag-work agad. Kasi, diba, in our culture, unlike here in the States, when you're 18, you work agad.
Yes.
But in our culture, ang pathway kasi natin, okay, mag-aaral ka, gagraduate ka, saka ka magtatrabaho.
Okay.
And di naman tayo ini-encourage na, you're on your own. It's different here. So I had the same mindset of, okay, kailangan ko muna makapagtapos ng college and then maghahanap ako ng trabaho. Yun yung mindset ko during that time. But the following year, an Australian company reached out to me and invited me to do a talk about front-end web development. Pumasok na naman yung imposter syndrome thought ko na, hindi ako front-end developer. And again, wala akong work experience. I'm just a computer science student, but I still get invited to do a talk about front-end development. And I think it was February and around Chinese New Year. I don't, because we're superstitious people, but sometimes we believe in those things, or maybe it's meant to be. So I took that risk again, and they said that the social media managers of those companies said that, oh, we're expecting 200 people to attend your webinar. And so I got invited to that webinar. At this time, this was from a recruitment company based in Australia. And I took the risk. I said yes. And then on that day, before we went live, there had been changes to the host of the event. Because usually their hosts are the recruiters, kasi recruitment company. And then the recruiter was not available. So they had the CEO do the hosting of the event. And before we went live, the CEO greeted me warmly. He was very approachable and nice. And then, ang bilis ng pangyayari, ini-interview na pala ako on the spot. And then before we went live, the words that I heard was, "You're hired."
Ooh.
And how it came to that point na sinabi nung CEO na you're hired, is he asked me a common question that's oftenly asked is, how do you see yourself in 5 years?
Okay.
I was honest. I said, honestly, I don't know. Di ba dapat as a working professional, hindi dapat gano'n. Dapat may vision ka sa 5 years. So I said, honestly, I don't know. Pero I explained, sabi ko, I'm still a student. A lot of people are who are already in this industry with extensive years of experience are getting laid off. What more for me? The reason why I cannot see my future in the next 5 years is I don't know. Like di ko na exactly in verbatim maalala yung sinabi ko, pero I don't know what to expect anymore. Kasi anything can happen, something like that. And then I guess he liked how honest my answer is, and then he hired me. I did that. So, yung talk ko na yun, workshop naman siya about Figma. It's a prototyping and wireframing tool that I did a demo on. That can be used by web designers, developers, and specifically front-end. Kasi yun yung pinag-usapan, like UI, UX. So, yun yung naging talk ko. And the following week, I worked for the company, the Australian recruitment company, as their social media specialist. So, during that time, I took that risk of taking that speaking engagement again. So doon na unti-unti nabibuild yung experience ko as a public speaker. And then at the same time, I'm also head-starting my journey in the tech industry as a social media specialist kasi I help build a community and manage a community of front-end developers specifically. Like we help them get a career, help them upscale. So doon nag-start, yun yung pinaka-first job ko. And then, so third-year computer science student ako noon. And then the following months, I got, I don't know if it's promoted or technically na-move ako kasi it's a startup company and they didn't have any IT kasi their manager was, I think, nag-handle din ng IT stuff kasi may IT background siya, pero they wanted to grow the company. So they created an IT team and I was one of the IT support like specialists, something like that. So doon na nauunti-unti na move na din yung experience ko towards the technical side in the IT industry. And then I got promoted as an application analyst a few months later. And during that time, I was still actively engaging with the community, doing speaking engagements, sharing my journey, sharing my experiences. And then a fellow tech content creator. If you know Sir Rafi, he also has a podcast then called Kaka Computer, and he also
Rafi,
is, yes, Sir Rafi.
yes.
And he also has a YouTube channel, Young CTO. Sobrang throwback na yun. I think he interviewed me 3 years ago. So yung video na yun, I think I did say the same thing, but I was still working for that company as an IT support analyst. And then he reached out to me. We did the interview, and then he also gave me an opportunity to work for a Filipino company naman, education tech company, Education PH, to work as their technical community manager since
I sa PH?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think I worked there for over a year. Like something, yeah. So I was a third-year computer science student, an application analyst, and a technical community manager at the same time. So,
Tatanong mo, paano yun?
yeah, I know. So, a good thing about the first job that I have, it's flexible. So while I'm studying, I'm working for them part-time, and then during the summer, I work with them full-time. And then with the technical community manager role at Education PH, since I am a consultant, it's flexible naman as long as I'm able to do my projects kasi it's output-based and I'm able to attend client meetings and present. So kaya siya naging manageable is through that. And then at the end of the day, because people said, people get this idea na pwede pala ako maging working student, pwede pala na active, kasi active din ako sa org nun. And so student leader, student, and then working. But I always tell them na if you want not take this path, just know na kung ano yung una mong priority, which is to finish your studies. Especially people in technology na, yung mga big time sa industriya ng teknolohiya, hindi naman kailangan ng degree para makakuha ng ganitong trabaho. Like, iba pa rin kapag nakapagtapos ka and you have your degree. It's your, I wouldn't say safety net, but it shows kasi na you're credible na to be able to accomplish itong mga certain like courses and challenges na tinuturo sa school na iba pa rin when you work. Iba pa rin pag may foundational structure ka when it comes to knowledge. Yeah. And then, so yun yung nangyari. And then, because I became a permanent resident here in the States bago pa ako graduate. So eventually, I had to go back here. And then, I had to let go of my first job kasi patapos na din yung contract ko. So, tapos na ako as an application analyst, I think in 2021. And then, I'm still working as a technical community manager in the Philippines remotely. Yun yung maganda when you're in the tech space, you can work anywhere and anytime. Yeah. It's very flexible. And then, before my contract with Education PH ended, I was graduating na ako, fourth year computer science student na ako nito. I was actively looking for jobs here in the States kasi lugi ako sa part na I'm getting experience as a student pero I'm earning peso pero I'm living in the States. So that's why no fourth year computer science student ako, naisip ko na hindi ko hihintayin graduate ako para magkaroon ng trabaho. Maghahanap na ako, lalo na kaya ko naman maghanap online. So, I think I made a post about this, but I've been actively applying for jobs, I think for 3 months, almost daily. I have a picture. I made the list of all of the companies that I've applied to on LinkedIn, or I forgot which sites na. But out of those, like, sabihin natin, 90 applications kasi 3 months, 30 times 3, something like that. So out of all of those applications, like I think it was like 100 and plus, isa lang yung nag-reach out, which is the company that I'm currently working at right now.
Okay.
I've been with the company for 3 years, and then bago pa ako graduate, I started as an L1 tech support, and then I think I was there after a few months din, nag-end na din yung contract ko with Education PH. And then during those times, iba-iba pa yung, alam ko yung tanong mo about public speaking journey, but during this time, I was actively invited sa mga hackathons, mga judge ng web design contest, and also still talking about, I mostly talk about career journey, fundamentals of tech, specifically web design, information, security, networking, and database systems. The reason why I don't have like a specific topics, like kung wari, cybersecurity lang, is because I want the students who I'm sharing the knowledge to pick a topic na gusto talaga nila. Kasi I understand some universities na, okay, we want you to talk about this. Some universities na, ano yung pwede niyo pong i-share? Pag ganun yung tinatanong sa akin, ano ba yung gusto matutunan ng mga estudyante? Kasi ayoko namang magsayang lang tayo ng oras, magsayang lang ng laway na hindi naman kayo natututo. So, I think this is also a good tip for public speakers is, especially if you're passionate with the topics that you're teaching, I highly suggest for you to ask the potential audience kung anong gusto na matutunan. Para may mapupulot talaga sila. Kasi alam ko, naging audience din ako na parang hinayaan ko lang naka-on yung event pero di ako nakikinig, wala akong napupulot. So, kasi hindi ako interesado. So, yun yung ano ko sa public speaking. And then, yun, my career journey here, I started as an L1 and then L2, and now I'm working as a sustaining engineer. I think it's like L3, L4 here. And I think last year I was able to hit my 100th talk, a speaking engagement. It was for a...
Congratulations!
Yeah, I think I started speaking, public speaking, tapos na-hit ko yun ng 2/3 years. So, kinakount ko din yung mga ganyan, mga podcast or mapa short webinar, workshop, ganyan, any public interaction that I have online. And I'm, even though I've been doing this for more than 100 times and for more years, each talk, each engagement that I get, it feels like my first time. Lagi akong kinakabahan, lalo na last year I was given the opportunity to speak at a big conference, yung PyCon, PH. First time ko lang din yon, and I'm really happy na nabigyan din ako ng opportunity to be able to see you guys then in person sa mga universities. Kasi iba pa rin kapag nagtatalk ka in person compared online. So that was a memorable experience. And ano ba? And then ayun, I'm still actively learning different ways of public speaking. I bought a book last year, yung I think it was The Art of Public Speaking or Public Speaking, but I still have yet to read that. Right now, I'm reading the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, and a part of that book now says na it teaches you how to like speak effectively in front of people, and of course build those relationships. So that was my like 2/3 year journey into public speaking.
Okay, so nung nag-start ka, sabi mo you have this tawag dito, notes about tech, web dev, info security from your professors.
Yes.
Yeah. So, kung ikaw ang tatanungin, which specific side of tech would you like to pursue? Kasi di ba ito halo to eh. Di ba? Ikaw.
So right now, I am actively mentoring with one of our director of cybersecurity sa company. Ever since third year college, mas interested ako specifically sa cybersecurity. However, it's still taking me a while to get to that profession kasi I'm prioritizing job security. Lalo na anyone here kasi right now in the States can get laid off. And yun muna yung focus ko eh. But hopefully, by this year, I'm able to land on my dream role kahit entry level na cybersecurity. So that's what I'm currently doing right now as an action, is to attend cybersecurity specific networking events here in California, and also mentor with someone from the company that can help me land that role in cybersecurity.
Okay, and nasabi mo kanina na nag-talk ka bilang estudyante and maraming kang mga side comments na sinasabi, why invite this? Kasi third year student pa lang siya. And kung magsasabi, I think they are a little bit insecure sa accomplishments mo. Bata pa lang. So, paano mo na-overcome yung ganong mga side comments?
I think it took them a while to accept na, kasi it's ironic yung professor ko namin before, I invited someone from UP, a student, UP na to sabi niya. Tapos na gumawa ng workshop about GitHub, and then when she found out na estudyante pa lang yung speaker na yun, ang baba na ng tingin, like, kakasabi ko lang taga-UP to, and and I think sa abroad pa nga siya ata nag-intern, and then so he has enough experience to share and knowledge to share. It doesn't mean na estudyante is wala nang kasi experience is a unique thing na not everyone has or has the same knowledge of, and yun yung other perspective aside from my personal experience of other people, like looking down on students specifically to have the opportunity to share the knowledge. And going back to that question is, I'm happy that lately, na-observe ko sa mga specifically Filipino tech community, a lot of students are given the platform to be speakers, specifically yung mga AWS Cloud Clubs, kasi na-encourage talaga sila na ma-practice yung public speaking skills nila as students. So, ini-invite sila maging speakers mismo. Kahit intro to cloud computing lang yan, doesn't have to be really advanced. And then from there, when they have that pag nagkaroon na sila ng job experience, and then from there, pwede na sila i-invite sa mga professional or expert level specific speaking engagements. So, during that time na nagsisimula ako, I think, paano ko ba i-describe? Hindi pa ganun ka-open-minded siguro yung mga professionals into accepting that fact na students, especially those with community backgrounds or are working students, have the capability of sharing the knowledge in tech, whether or not na they have extensive years of experience. Kasi experience, whether it may be a few months, still they can still share something out of that. So, yeah, it's growing and it's being more open compared to what I've experienced before, which is really a good thing.
Yeah, kasi ngayon, kung ako ang tatanungin, especially nowadays, with the help of artificial intelligence, is mas na-widen pa yung knowledge ng mga estudyante. Yung mga, ako personally, I am a part-time lecturer then. So, I teach the basic.
Yes.
Then, the students will then elaborate, expand their knowledge, then giving them the time to be more expert on that specific field. Now, given them the chance, ako nga, may mga interviews din ako sa podcast ko, yung mga estudyante talaga. Yung bang mga ideas nila, knowledge nila, ay oo nga, no? Pwede pala yun. Yung mga ganun.
Yeah.
So, with that, I think it's, tama yung sinabi mo, na mas naging open na siya ngayon. Unlike before na dapat siguro expert yung tawagin natin, sige ito, sige yan. Now, thankful din tayo, meron tayong Google Developers Manila, AWS, mga organizations we're in, they empower talaga the students. No, and yeah, for so many years sa amin dito, I'm from Nueva Ecija, bihira pa rin yung mga ganun. I'm a little bit ang tawag dito,
concerned.
Yeah. Ako concerned and jealous kasi ako when I was a student, hindi ko na-experience yung mga ganyan talks. Una bes wala. Kasi talagang experts yung hinahanap namin before. And now, ako concerned din ako a little bit kasi yung gap between the tech in Manila and tech here in the Philippines is in the province is medyo malayo talaga.
Yeah.
That's why I think this podcast from the province, I could share some of the ideas na nakita ko sa inyo sa Manila, sa abroad, sa ating mga estudyante. And yeah, again, so during your college muna tayo.
Sige.
Ano yung thesis mo?
Oh, actually, I'm open to share yung aming study, and talagang willing ako i-share yung idea because I wanna make it into a reality. So, yung thesis namin was back in 2021-ish to 2022. So it was a career decision support guide web application. So it is a web application that we have created. I think our framework or our tech stack was React.js. Nakalimutan ko na, basta yun, React.js. Yung namin yung ginawa yung front end. And then, the study was about helping senior high school students be guided on the potential college program options that they can choose from. So, ibig sabihin, meron kaming, sa web application na yan, there's a survey that is like testing their more on like interest and yung there's like a huge set of questions. It's more on psychological kasi doon namin ma-identify kung ito bang tao na to is a logical person, is a creative person, nurturing person, etc. Kung doon ba magfo-fall yung results nila or answers nila sa nursing, sa music, and then binase lang namin yung content. Siyempre, hindi naman kaya naming gawing database yung lahat ng courses ng buong mundo. So we made it specific to I think Manila lang kasi syempre 'di ba iba-iba din yung ina-offer na programs. And then I think it was just like 11 or 15 based in Manila na college programs. And then nagbibigay kami ng top 3 based dun sa results ng pag-take mo ng questionnaire. So we resonate kasi kaya namin pinili yung Career Decision Support Guide study namin back in college kasi kami yung unang batch ng K-12. So, yes, alam namin as the experimental batch kasi parang nung time namin parang high school lang din na ginawang college, parang ganun na sabi kasi nila na when you finish senior high school in the Philippines, you are job ready, which is not true. And sabi daw nila, if you want to pursue college, there are tinatawag nilang bridging programs na kunwari, humanities ka, pero gusto mo pala ng computer science na meron silang bridging programs na i-take mong courses na hindi mo na-take yung senior high school para makasabay ka sa mga nag-STEM nung senior high school. But that did not happen. I have classmates na accounting, business, and management yung strand pero nag-comp-sci, walang bridging programs. Pero nakakasabay pa rin naman sila. Ako, I shifted from STEM strand to TechBook ICT. And sabi sa amin, during that time kasi dapat magte-test na kami pero walang I think there was no tester na available sa TESDA. Pero kami, NC2 training, which is good kasi meron pa rin kaming credential na mapaghahawakan during that time. Pero nung college na yun, unfortunately, not senior high school. So, yun yung naging reason behind the study kung ba't namin inano yun. Kasi hindi naman lahat ng kabataan, especially the adolescents, ganon, is they already have like a career path in their mind or a career interest. Most of the time, we are, lalo na Filipinos, are heavily influenced kung ano yung nauuso or kung ano yung malaking kita. Yes. Lalo na technology. Di ba? Mag-IT ka kasi tiga mo yung ate mo, tiga mo yung pinsan mo, laki na kinikita. So, that's why we made that thesis of Career Decision Support Guide. So, if you are watching this podcast or listening to this podcast and wala ka pang naisip na study, I hope you continue that one, improve it more. And you can always reach out to me if you have any questions or if you need details kung paano namin ginawa yung like abstract or naging summary namin, mga findings, ganun. Hopefully someone will be able to really do that kasi it's helpful. I think it's a study that is sustainable. Especially that there are courses na nagbabago. Like, kunwari, you take computer science, but meron kang specialization with
Yes.
cybersecurity or AI. So magagamit mo yung web application until the end of time kasi nagbabago din yung programs at pwede mo pang i-improve yung questions dun sa survey.
When it comes to today sa speaking engagements mo, ano ang pinaka-interesting sa yung topic?
Oh, of course, on the top of my head, the most interesting topic is cybersecurity kasi ang dami mong pwedeng pag-usapan dyan. And pwede mo a lot of industries that you can touch upon on, whether it may be in the finance, in the healthcare, ang dami pwedeng pag-usapan na specific industries that security is one of the biggest concerns talaga, especially with data protection. And while you ask me that, naisip ko din na even though that's the most interesting topic for me, I'm also interested to sometimes know why other people would like me to talk about game development. Even though it's something that is out of my scope, sometimes it still challenges me to learn about that field kasi I might be able to, habang nagtuturo ako ng game development talks, I might be able to insert some security knowledge in. So I think if you, sa mga nanonood na public speaker, if you are hesitant na, ay, hindi naman ito yung talagang scope ko, it's either you recommend someone who has more knowledge on it. Ang dami din community na minsan kapag parang alanganin ako, nagre-recommend ako ng ibang speaker. Pero pag something, if it's just fundamentals like basics, I still accept it sometimes as long as minsan kasi binibigyan nila ako ng layout na, ito yung mga subtopics na ita-touch upon mo na dapat mo ma-mention. If that's the case, I still go for it. Of course, I do my research and fact check everything, and then if as much as possible I can insert something like security that I'm passionate about, I do that. So that's what I do.
Okay. When it comes to the Philippine settings, anong tingin mo dapat bigyang pansin when it comes to cybersecurity?
Oh.
Sector. Tingin mo AFP, kasi lately nabasa ko nabawasan yung fund ng AFP, National Defense, and ang concern nila, it is parang nawawalan yata ng budget yung cybersecurity ng AFP. Ikaw, what do you think?
I think it's at the end of the day, it's not just a nationwide effort to protect everyone's personal information online. I think it's always not just we shouldn't just depend on them in protecting us. We should also be knowledgeable, even though we don't have a tech background, to practice cybersecurity or security awareness. Lalo na yung mga older generation, ang dali nila ma-fall into that trap of mga scams like phishing. So I think just applying and practicing those basics, how to protect yourself, detect like any possible attacks, so we won't be vulnerable na regardless mataas man yung budget, maliit man, it's our personal information. It means it's our own responsibility on how much we share, how little we share, and how we protect ourselves online. Although we have to consider there are circumstances, ironically, unfortunately, and sadly, na we entrust our data to the like private sectors or like government, pero nako-compromise. Yun yung biggest concern. I think how we can be able to, kasi the goal of cybersecurity is to minimize the attacks, the effects. So the goal is for that to reduce the risks, is to be an advocate on helping people how to be more aware and practice yung mga safety measures na pwede natin gawin online, and always be vigilant. So I think that's one way we can actively reduce those risks.
Yeah. Kasi nung may ikaw ba napanood yun? May napanood ako about tech, wherein yung isang estudyante is nakapublic yung kanyang Facebook profile. And then, itong isang nanti-trip. Hinulaan niya kung saan nagpunta yung babae. Hinulaan niya.
Hacker?
Oo. Pero not totally hacker. ano lang siya, ano tawag, social engineer lang siya, wherein
Oo.
ito si mga post ng babae, naka-public. So itong
Dun sa picture, ina-identify niya kung nasang lugar.
Oo, so sabi ng lalaki, hulaan ko kung saan ka nagpunta. Sinong kasama mo? Eh, itong lalaki, hindi naman niya kilala. So, anong nangyari? Nakakilala ko kung sino yung kasama mo, kung saan kayo pumunta, anong araw, anong oras. Yung time na yon, nag-ano na pala sila, meron silang advocate about cybersecurity and how they share their personal data.
Yeah.
Na sabi, next time, sana tayo, I don't know kung saan ito sa US din to Sabi, next time po, huwag kayo nag-share ng ganitong mga Facebook posts. Akala nyo manghuhula ako, hindi po ako manghuhula. Lahat po nang yan nakita ko sa inyong Facebook profile.
Oh yeah, madali. Lalo na kung itatag mo yung location.
Yeah. Kaya tama yung sinabi mo na it depends on ourselves na on how we share data, kung gaano tayo kadalas post, saan tayo pumupunta. And then ito nga, another security issue nga, wherein yung co-worker ko is nagpo-post ng kanya mga advanced events. For example, next week pupunta ako sa ganitong area. Okay, magpo-post ako, naka-public. Kita-kits sa ganitong lugar, ganitong oras, ganitong araw. Ayun pala, mayroong maka-follow sa kanya. Kinagabihan, nung umalis, ayun, nanakawan yung bahay nila.
Oh, yeah.
So, those are some of the gaps or loopholes na akala natin when it comes to cybersecurity, akala natin okay lang i-post sa social media. Yung pala is hindi naman dapat. So, those are some of the reminders that when it comes to cybersecurity, na it's not that hindi nakadepende yung ating security sa iba.
Yes.
It's our job and responsibility, obligation to stop or to minimize what we share.
Yes.
No, kung hindi natin share, then wala silang idea, di ba? And yeah, to ask more of my questions. No, ang dami kong tanong din sa'yo na nakanood lang Yeah. What is your most memorable talk engagement?
Ako parang
ano yung
bigyan
first?
mo ako ng 1 hour. The joke lang. Most memorable, I would say all of the in-person events na napagtukan ko dyan sa Philippines last year. Kasi yun nga, as what I have mentioned, it's more of a genuine experience compared to online, kasi you would really see their reactions, their feedback, their interaction, kung bored na ba, kung nakikinig ba talaga, kung may natutunan ba talaga, and if they're active. And don't get me wrong, may mga in-person talks ako na parang naririnig ko yung langaw, ganon. Then,
sobrang tahimik?
Oo, sobrang tahimik. Syempre, hindi na ako magdadrop ng name ng school. Okay. Pero, kung ganun man yung may experience nyo sa mga listeners, as a public speaker, it's a challenge for you on how you're gonna engage the audience. And always be considerate of the demographics, kasi iba ang how you're gonna engage the younger generation, the older generation, depende on what type of conference it is. You can joke around if it's something that is informal. If it's something formal, you can create yung safe for work joke, something like that. Still, to be able to get their attention, yun yung challenge pag in person. But I would say it's still memorable for me kasi I was able to personally interact with them. And yung mga estudyante, nililook forward nga daw talaga nila na ma-meet daw ako in person to say thank you. And I'm also grateful na they have been supporting me. I wouldn't be able to reach where I'm at without everyone's support in the community. And if you are starting and parang feeling mo wala namang susuporta sa akin, I think the biggest power that you have at the end of the day is believing in yourself. Kasi people around you only cheer for you when you're successful or if you reach your goals, but they don't know the effort and the journey that it will take you to be able to reach where you want to be. So yun yung what made me stronger and to keep going is my mindset is, yun nga, yung I beat the imposter syndrome kasi alam ko, ay, kaya ko to. Kaya ko to. Paano ko gagawin? Ay, ganito gagawin ko. Magpa-practice ako, mag-training ako, mag-aaral ako. So that's how I'm able to do those things that I wanted to do. Yun nga, 3 years ago, someone told me, ang ambisyoso mo. Pero you don't have to prove them wrong. You just know, alam mo yung capability mo and yung worth mo. So, yan.
Yeah, no, ako sa part ko, before I do public speaking din, syempre, tatanong ko nga yung, kaya na sinabi mo, hindi naman pwedeng kung ano yung gusto kong sabihin. Syempre, hihingi ako sa kanila ng kung ano bang gusto nyo in-expect nyong marinig galing sa akin. Mamaya, kung ano yung sabihin ko is hindi naman kayo interested. That's why, yung mga kumakusap sa akin, here are some of my questions that, ano ba talaga ang gusto nyo? Kasi, napaka-useless kung magsasalita kung hindi naman kayo maging interesado.
Yes.
And then aside from that, kung naibigay na sa akin yung topic na dapat kong i-deliver, then I do rehearsals, I do fact-checking, I do review, I do learning. Kasi at the end of the day, ikaw yung magsasalita, and then show them what you've got.
Yes.
Be the best version of yourself in front of them. And then, yung kung nando ka na, when you give your best, then hopefully, mag-grasp nila yung idea, and then, doon, magtuloy-tuloy. Ngayon, ito paano, may mga engagement din ako sa iba't ibang universities, paunti-unti. And yung I have to share with you yung aking talk early last year, yung sa ICPEP and dun sa De La Salle, sa NU. Medyo kinakabahan ako ng mga time kasi La Salle and NU eh.
Yes.
Diba? Nakakatakot, baka nakakaba rin. But again, nalagpasan ko naman, nag-review ako ng maayos. Papunta pa lang ako sa La Salle, basa, review, baka magtanong sila, hindi ko masagot. Pero okay naman. Hanggang ngayon, may mga invitations naman ako, but definitely nowadays, more of my talks now is CDICT na nag-invite sa akin. About cybersec, about project management. So those are my side hustles sa TICT. And ito, tanong ko na lang din. I have 2 more questions na lang.
Okay.
Ano ang paano ba ito i-weigh? Anyway, dito muna tayo. Ano ba yung L1 tech support, L2, L3 dyan? Ano ba yun?
Oh, okay, yeah. I would say it's more because I work for a restaurant technology company in New York. So, ang product namin ay point of sale systems, both hardware and software. So, imagine, so one of our big clients is McDonald's and Dairy Queen. So, yung as an L1 or technical support agent, ang L1 agent is they directly talk to the customers or in that scenario, employees working in that restaurant, wari sa McDo. Diba tayo, as Filipinos, pag mag-order tayo ng French fries sa McDo. Tapos, ay, nagbago isip mo, hindi na pala, na lang pala, Happy Meal, kunwari, ganon. So, yung tao dun sa cashier, kailangan nila i-void. Ma'am, pa-void po. So, yung device na yon, ang tawag doon, register or terminal, yun yung product namin. So, that's what we sell. So, as, kunwari, pag nag-hang yung screen, kunwari, try niyang i-void, tatawag sila sa support. Yun yung L1. That's the technical support agent. And then, pag sinabi nating level 2 or technical support specialist, they do not directly talk to the customers anymore, but they work with resellers. So, possible din na merong ibang third party na nagsisell ng product namin ng point of sale systems and we help them. So, technically, we help L1s troubleshoot things na hindi nila agad masosolve sa end nila. And then now, as a sustaining engineer, I work closely with developers, DevOps, security, and cloud professionals while still engaging and working with L1s and L2s to be able to identify bugs, if possible, ma-resolve namin yung bugs, code investigation, and it's more on, kasi we work a lot with security and data, especially at employee, yung mga credit card information. So yun yung mga ini-investigate ko usually as a sustaining engineer. Ina-escalate namin sa developers, and it's an interesting role kasi unlike L1 and L2, sobrang repetitive na ginagawa ko day to day. As a sustaining engineer, hindi mo alam kung anong problem yung tatahakin mo the following day and how long, gano'ng katagal. There has been nagkaroon ako ng ticket before, usually yung tawag namin case. Inabot ako ng 1 month. Wala. Sometimes you can resolve it in a few minutes. Sometimes it takes months. So, yun naman yung role as a sustaining engineer. And kung interested kayo, kasi nung nabigyan ako ng opportunity, hindi ko alam na may role palang tinatawag na sustaining engineer.
Oh, yun nga eh.
Na sabi nila it's technically L3 support, but it's different kasi when you look online or the job description ng sustaining engineer, merong ibang job description ng sustaining engineer sa computer science field, iba din sa mechanical engineering field. But the role of a sustaining engineer in general is to make sure na yung mga projects, systems, hardware, software man yan is from the word itself, you make it sustainable, you improve it, design something new. So yun yung current role ko ngayon as an engineer.
Okay. Then, what do you think? Which side of tech, which branch of tech needs to be more advocated?
Oh, that's actually a unique and challenging question. Branch of tech that needs to be advocated. Syempre, ayoko naman maging bias kasi lahat ng mga fields and branches is important and everything, it's interconnected with one another. It's related. On the top of my head, I think when we talk about a specific field is this environmental/sustainability aspect. Kasi alam na natin as humans how we're gonna innovate some things and how it's gonna be evolving. Alam na natin yan na the goal is for technology to be used as a tool para tayong humans. Kasi yung purpose ng AI, para tayong humans mag-focus sa more complex and more important things. And yung mga technology na innovations na ginagawa natin should be self-sustaining, but hindi natin napapansin na itong mga ginagawa natin nanggagaling yan sa resources, and those resources affect the environment and affect how we live daily, especially yun nga yung health, environmental concerns. I think that's what needs to be advocated more kasi we already have enough exposure when it comes to being innovative, being able to use AI, use automation, and more on other technical terms. I think it's just more on advocating for how are we gonna create, robotics? How are we gonna create like a robot vacuum for the home, but using lesser materials or having it more like recyclable in that sense? I think yun yung part ng technology na we can advocate to be aware na, masyado na pala tayo gumagamit ng resources, electricity, like how about like solar panels, something like that. So I think that's one thing that came up to my head now. We need to be more loud about.
Yeah. So nung napapansin ko nga lately, ang daming, when it comes to environment, ang daming mga waste materials na I think we can, yung being recyclable sila. Kasi for example, yung sa amin lang dito sa Nueva Ecija, napakadaming alam mo yung bao ng buko pagkayaring gamitin. Hindi tinatapon lang eh.
Alam, di ba pinalilinis natin yun?
Iya, sa mga classrooms, diba? But dito ko dito, yung mga nagbebenta ng mga buko juice dito, nakasako-sako lang, binibenta. I don't know kung saan napupunta, kung may bumibili ba nito or wala. So aside from that, yung nakita ko dito mga plastic na mga, alam mo yung dating yung pinaglalagyan ng mga tubig, yung mga lalagyan ng ketchup, yung tinatapon na lang eh. Yung mga
one-use plastic,
Yes, ang daming pwedeng gamitin nun. Iba, nakita ko nga yung mga resourceful talaga, yung mga pinaglagyan ng Wilkins, pinagtataniman ba, nag-vertical farming sila. So yung mga ganong idea sana is magamitan natin ng tech. Kasi yun nga, sayang, isa is environment friendly, di ba, ma-maximize natin yung kanyang usage. Di ba? So last, Athena, ano ang iyong messages sa mga nag-start pala mag-public speaking, and sa mga students na nagpupurso na rin sa ComSci?
Okay, so I get asked this a lot. So I think the message or advice that I would give to the students and to those people who are starting their journey in technology and those who are also have interest in the path of public speaking is that it's okay kung hindi mo pa alam kung ano gusto mo. As long as you're actively learning and exposing yourself to different fields and technology, this will actually help you have an idea kung saan ka mas interesado. At the same time, you know yung mga hobbies or skills na meron ka and what you're passionate about. Say, for example, you're really good at in the arts or drawing. There's such a thing as UI UX design, multimedia arts, and you can apply that in different industries and can land you in different opportunities. For example, music person ka, pero nag-take ka ng tech degree. Meron tayong mga people in the gaming industry that you can be like a sound engineer, like audio engineer, and still has tech involved in it. So, iba pa rin kasi talaga, at the end of the day, even though you don't know a specific career or role na you want, iba pa rin pag gusto mo yung ginagawa mo. Hindi yung napipilitan ka. Hindi porket sinabi sa'yo na mataas yung kita dito pero hindi mo naman gusto yung ginagawa mo, you don't feel fulfilled. So as students right now who are listening and watching on this podcast, do not feel pressured kasi kami na nasa industriya, we're still learning, we're still exploring, and sometimes some people in the industry, it takes them 10 years, then the career shift. So iba-iba yung timeline natin, and it's okay. Again, don't be stagnant na in a way na kahit kampante ka na, okay naman pala kahit hindi pa ako pili ng gusto kong trabaho, okay lang yun. Go with the flow lang ako. No. Expose yourself, connect, network. Iba pa rin pag may connection. At I think alam naman din yan ng mga ibang kabataan. Nakikita nila ibang tao na, kaya siya nagkaroon ng trabaho kahit wala naman siya experience kasi may connection siya. Iba pa rin yun. Present yourself to other people, learn from experts, get advices, and you'll be able to reach where you want to be. So, good luck, and I hope that helps you.
Yan, so sana naging maliwanag po sa inyo ang tutorial ni Ma'am Athena. Tutorial, no? Anyway, yeah, so that is very correct, no? So even if you're a student, you can build your network naman kaagad.
Yes.
Huwag mong sabihin na graduate ko na lang ako maghanap ng network. No, tignan nyo si Miss Athena, third year, ComSci student pa lang, may network na. Diba? Kung bata ka pa lang, nag-build ka na ng foundation mo, mas madali kang makakahanap ng work mo outside after graduation. So yeah, I think that ends our podcast. I'm hoping, Miss Athena, hindi dito nagtatapos ang ating pag-uusap.
Sure.
And may pahabol sana ako, hindi ko itatanong.
Bakit?
Ito, pahabol na lang, sige. Ano kaibahan ng tech sa PH sa tech sa US? Malaki talaga.
Good question. Kasi I did experience doing a talk here in the States sa Google office sa San Diego. So, I would say, ang observation ko sa tech sa Pilipinas, sa tech sa US is they're more involved in a way na active na nagko-communicate yung mga iba-ibang tech communities. Kasi unlike sa atin sa Pilipinas, pag sinabi mong React.js, sila lang. Pag PHP, sila lang. Kapag JavaScript, sila lang. Although I understand it's a specific community, but iba pa rin if they build like connections or like collaborations or partnership sa mga ibang general community. Like Free Code Camp, for example, then collaborate sa ibang community. Expands their, it helps grow their community more and build reach kasi most of the communities here in the US, active sila sa mga conferences, and then maganda din kasi 'di ba lalo na yung mga non-profit organizations, they can get sponsorships from companies that are interested to support them with their mission. So I think yun yung pwedeng i-implement ng mga tech community sa Pilipinas na ginagawa ng mga US tech communities. sponsorships, partnerships.
Okay. So thank you very much, Miss Athena, for this wonderful podcast, and looking forward that hindi ka magsasawang sumuporta sa amin when the time comes na uwi ka dito sa Philippines.
Yes.
Sana magkita tayo, no? And I'm hoping next episode si Kuya Dev naman ang aking makasama dito. No, si RM yata ang kanyang,
Yes.
di ba? So again, Miss Athena, I will not tawag dito, extend our podcast episode kasi it's getting late there. It's 9 na.
9, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah. Thank you very much again, and see you again soon. Goodbye.
Thank you sa time mo, Oscar. Bye. Ingat!
Bye-bye.